Hi guys, this is Carl from Monkey Mods. So this video, I will show you the latest blaster from Zius, the BK1S and the BK2S. Alright, let me just get straight to the point. Alright, let me show you the blaster first. Alright, so this is the BK1S. Right, as you can see, it has a longer handguard with a 24 cm inner barrel, and then an M4 type buffer tube with the M4 style, buttstock. So you can pretty much actually remove this thing and just use any of your favorite M4 buttstock. It will fit right in. Well, there's nothing really wrong with this small buttstock though. Right? If you don't mind it, it will work fine. It locks in pretty solid. It doesn't feel like it will break. So yeah, it's pretty good. Right, and then of course you have your receiver at the middle here. This unit is the light gray unit. So on this side, you'll see these little windows here where you can pop open, and it reveals not much is revealed. You can just pretty much see the darts when the magazine is in, and then the pusher itself. So well, if it jams, I really doubt so you can actually do anything with these small windows here. But yeah, that's it. Right, and then you have your fire select. Right, it has safe, semi, and full auto. Right, I'll show you guys later. And that's pretty much on this side. Right, on the other side, well, there's the magazine release. Right, you just press it, and then you can pull the magazine out. And then there's this thing here. Right, this is my most favorite feature of this blaster. Right, it's actually a charging handle where it's functional. You can see it move, and you can actually pull it and reload or chamber a darts into the barrel, right? So that's pretty much it, right, for BK1S, right? One more thing here. The muzzle itself, this is a short type muzzle. It's easily removable. Basically, just twist it, right, and then it comes right off, right? Once there, you can see the barrel reveals itself, right? Now it doesn't jut out too much, so if you have a, like a scar bearing or something, you can just plug right in without any issue, right? So out of the box is pretty much, yeah. Now even with our longer, this is the Monkey Mods B car. This is our own B car, right? Advertisement, right? This also goes in just nice, perfect, right? There's no problem of the fitment whatsoever, just nice. Right, let me put it back. Right, that's it. Right, and the blaster itself comes with these plastic handguards, which also comes with one piece of Picatinny rail where you can choose whatever you want to install on these three sides, bottom, left, and right. So yeah, just pick your positions. But it's a shame though that they just give one piece. So I'm not sure if they're selling it separately. But yeah, that's the BK1S. Let me show you the BK2S. Right, so the BK2S, the more expensive options. I forgot to mention the price, but we are currently having a pre-order right now. The BK1S is 600 ringgit Malaysia, and then it will comes with 2 extra max, which means you will get 3 max in total if you pre-order with us. Right, and the BK2S, the more expensive option, is 620 ringgit. So why is it more expensive when you get lesser? Right, so you don't really get lesser, but you do get aluminum CNC handguard. It's short handguard, like it's just round. Right, there's nothing really special about it, and personally, I really don't like this handguard. It's pretty ugly to me, but that's my opinion. So, and it does comes with one Picatinny rail where you can again select where you want to install it, bottom, left, and right. But I really wish they actually give more, because this Picatinny rail is actually proprietary. Alright, unlike the BK1S where you can actually use the M-lock type attachment that then you can attach onto the M-lock slots, but not on this, because of the nature of this cylindrical handguard. It's rounded, so you can see from here the Picatinny rail is also proprietary because it has the the curve shape to fit onto this cylindrical handguard. I really don't like this, man. Seriously, I really wish they stopped doing this type of handguard. But I digress. Right, and then the other difference is the PDW buttstock. Now, I suppose this also contributes to the increased cost of the BK2S because this buttstock, this PDW style buttstock is a brand new items, right? Unlike the BK1S, where the handguards and also the buttstock is actually from the same mold from the BK1. So I guess that's where they save the cost, right? So the BK2S, and other than the handguard, the PDW buttstock, obviously the difference is the inner barrel, right? This comes with a 16 cm barrel. It's pretty short, pretty sure it's under barrel, and the FPS also makes a difference, right? Well, since we mentioned the FPS numbers now, right? The BK1S out of the box does about 170 plus FPS, and the BK2S does about 150 to 160 FPS. Right, I know there are some claims. There are many people out there that has a blaster already claiming that they can actually shoot up to 195 FPS with the BK1S, meaning the longer barrel version. I'm not really sure how that is done because no matter how I do, I could never break through the 180 FPS ceiling. Right, and that is actually using their own darts. You know, these bamboo darts from Zius. They developed these darts specifically for the BK blaster. Now, right, I'm not really sure what's the deal, but I think for the FPS that I'm getting out of this blaster, 170 plus, almost hitting 180 is pretty fair for, you know, the package. But who knows? Maybe my cornea has issues. I'm not really sure, but that is the number I'm getting. 175 average, 155, 160 average, right? And that's pretty much it. Now let me show you how this blaster functions. Right, so before I move on to that, I forgot to mention about the magazine. Right, so the BK1S and BK2S uses this magazine. This is a proprietary magazine, unfortunately. So yeah, boo-hoo, I guess. Yeah, there's really nothing much I can talk about the magazine. Oh yeah, there's one thing. There's one good thing of the BK1, the BK magazine versus the very popular Walker Talon is that you can easily take this apart and do maintenance or whatsoever. And using this type of a design, meaning that we can also do a lot of aftermarket stuff, meaning an extended magazine base, you know, to make this 12 rounds magazine fits more than 12 rounds, 15 rounds, 18 rounds, right? It's a possibility. So I guess that's one positive thing about this magazine. Right, it can be assembled and disassembled very easily. Other than that, yeah, I mean, it works as a magazine. They work, yeah. Alright, so to the functionality of the blaster, right? So obviously the blaster uses LiPo battery. So I have this LiPo battery prepared for the BK1S and the short and fat one for the BK2S. Right, let me install the battery for the BK1S first. It's very easy. Just take off the buttstock. Right, that will reveals the XT30 connector, and then you just install it. Now I have a battery here. This is actually T-plug. I do not have an XT30 S-off battery. That's why I use a converter. This is not really recommended, but yeah, it's just a demo, so I figured it should be fine. Right, and that's how you connect the battery to the blaster. Right, so let me just carefully shove this in. Right, and put the buttstock back into the blaster. Right, so once the battery is in the blaster and it's not exactly powered yet, so you need to activate it. So how do you activate it? Right, so switch to semi. Right, pull the trigger once, you can hear 3 beeps. All right, 3 beeps. That indicates that the system now recognizes that it's a 3S battery that is powering the blaster right now. So if you try to put in a 2S battery, it will beep twice, but I don't recommend it because it will not work with this blaster. It will actually jam the blaster. So use only 3S battery with the BK1S and BK2S. Right, so after the 3 beeps, you can see that the blaster is still not primed, right? The spring is not compressed, the piston is not in the, in the prime position. So what you do is, again, put in semi fire select mode, pull the trigger once, and then you can see the charging handle moves. Right? See that? So once that's done, you can actually freely pull the charging handle. Right? That's because the spring is now compressed and the piston is at the prime position, ready to go. So what you need to do next is literally just put in a loaded magazine and then pull the charging handle once to chamber a darts, then you are ready to go. Right? Let me just show you that. Right, so that's 12 darts loaded into the magazine. Okay, you can probably put one more in there, but I really wouldn't recommend. But yeah. So once the magazine is loaded, right, there's one thing that I want to mention here as well, and that is the magazine well. The magazine well is very narrow, and I really like it because I have to, really look at it to make sure that the magazine is actually going right in. But yeah, that's one thing I want to mention. Right, so once the loaded magazine is inserted into the blaster, right, you can actually now just pull the charging handle, right, and then now the blaster is primed and ready to go. Right, let's just put a few rounds through. Let's put in semi. Right, feels pretty good, sounds pretty solid as well, still seem good. Now let's put it on this side and I can show you how the charging handle actually looks like when it's firing. Right, very cool. So if I open this windows here, I'm not really sure if you can see it. So you can see a little bit of an interaction between the stuff. Right, it's very cool. Now let's see. Let's just 2 more rounds. Let's just finish this. So that's supposed to be empty, but yeah, you can actually still fire the blaster without any darts in. Meaning there is no bolt lock or any sort in this BK blaster, unfortunately, but I guess it still works. Once you are used to using the blaster, you can notice straight away when your blaster is actually out, right? So that's the BK1S, and that's pretty much it actually for the function of the blaster. But maybe I'll show you full auto. Let me load up another magazine. Right, 12 rounds. Right, let's go full auto this time. Full auto. Let's pull the charging handle. Right, and then let's go. Right, that's 12 darts. The rate of fire is not crazy, but I suppose it's actually adequate. Right. Now, yeah, that's the blaster. That's the BK1 and BK2S in a nutshell, basically. I don't really think I can, I need to show you how this works because it's the exact same thing. But maybe I'll talk about this PDW buttstock in a bit and also fitting the battery and show you. Right, so before I move on to that, right, I want to just finish up with this blaster. So this blaster is using an electronic trigger unit, meaning how the trigger pulled and the blaster fire is actually all electronics. There's no mechanical there. So they are actually able to implement quite a few handy features in this blaster. Right, the first one being you can actually program the semi into 2 short bursts. So for example, right now is the regular mode, meaning semi is semi. Right, it fire once when I pull the trigger. Alright, you can actually program this into 2 short bursts. Right, so to switch the firing mode from semi to the 2 short bursts, all you need to do is just, put it in semi, pull the trigger and hold it until you hear the first beep. Alright, and then you let go. And then the system will program the semi into 2 short bursts. So let me show you now. If I hold the trigger, right, you see, it fired twice. Right? Now, this feature is not something that I fancy. I don't really think this is needed. I mean, at least give you the 3 short bursts, right? But yeah, I digress. That's just my opinion. So to switch it back to semi in this semi mode, basically you do the same thing. You pull and hold the trigger, wait for the first beep, and then let go of the trigger. Alright, and then now it should be firing semi again. Right, so that's how the programmable firing system works, I guess. That's a fancy name to call it. Right, other than this, it actually has a a jam detection system, which I think is very handy because if the blaster jam and you keep pulling the trigger, hoping some miracle to happen, that will actually damage your blaster, especially these very sensitive, automated electronic blasters. All right, so I can actually emulate the jam. It's quite easy to do so. Now, how it works is that there is a sensor that detects the positions of the pusher. So the blaster will not fire unless the bridge or the pusher is at the close positions, meaning this position. If it's anywhere else, like here or here, it will not fire. So let me just show you. I think the logic of this system is, if it detects a jam, meaning the piston have a problem trying to push through, right, and then it will actually automatically lock up the system. So to do this, I can just do the thumb on the barrel seal test, and you can see this charging handle will get stuck behind here. Oops, am I? Right, you see that? The charging handle is stuck at the middle right now. So you can't pull it, you can't push it back, and please don't do that because that will potentially damage the blaster. So now the blaster is actually jammed, right? Because it detects that there is a anomaly with either the piston or the pusher. So it will not allow you to fire the blaster. So at this condition, if I pull the trigger, right, it will just give 2 beeps to indicate that the blaster is now jammed. Please clear the jam, do whatever you need to do, and then reset the blaster. Right, to reset the blaster is quite weird in my opinion, but it works, I guess. So when this happens, what you want to do is, again, put it in semi, pull the trigger, hold it, you can hear the first beep, and then keep holding it for another 15 seconds or so. When you hear the second beeps, it will beep twice, and then you let go of the trigger, it will reset the system, deprime the blaster, and reset it back to the original condition. And this is also how you actually deprime the blaster to keep it for storage. Right, so let me demo for you. Again, it's now jammed. Right, so let me pull and hold the trigger. Okay, that's the first beep. Hold it. Okay, that's the second 2 beeps. Now you can let go of the trigger. Right, you will release some sort of a nasty grindy noise as a result of releasing the piston and also the pusher. But that's okay, it's alright, don't be alarmed. That's how the system works. So now the blaster is back to the original condition, meaning the blaster is now deprimed. You have to actually do the same thing where I showed you earlier, which means put it in semi, pull the trigger once, right, that will prime the blaster, and you are ready to go again. So yeah, so this is how the system works. In my opinion, the system reset time is a bit too long. Now just imagine if you are in a game, in a heat of foam flinging battle, and then your blaster jam, right? No big deal, you can actually reset the system, but it takes about 20 to 30 seconds to do so. So that downtime is a bit too long in my opinion. But being this blaster is that it just refuses to jam most of the time. It just won't jam, this blaster. So this is one of the things that I can actually vouch for, because we tested these 2 blasters extensively, playing it in a game, just blind firing, firing blindly at home or something to test the blaster. It really don't jam. I mean, it jams, but so rare. It's such a rare occurrence that the jam happened on this BK1S and BK2S blaster that I have to say it's very mind-blowing, and yeah, it's quite crazy. I've already showed you guys on my previous video where I show you guys I actually load the darts the wrong way and it still fires all the blaster without any problems. So yeah, that's the blaster, right? And that's pretty much it actually about the this BK blaster. So let me just show you the BK2S, right? So other than the buttstock, it's pretty much the same thing. I mean, the handguard is one, but you can easily swap it out. So the buttstock, right? The PDW buttstock. Now, I have to be honest with you guys, out of the box, you may not actually find your buttstock working properly, and because it may be too tight, right, for these two rods here. Let me just take it out, show you guys. Right, so this is how it looks like when it's partially deployed, right, in these manners. Now, when it works great, it's very solid. But the problem is that out of the box, right, that's how you remove the the buttstock. And then it will reveal this cap here. This cap is where it houses the battery. So there's a button here. You depress it, and then you can wiggle this cap out, right, like so. Now, why it won't work out of the box is most likely because of this cap, right? This part, this button is where it actually interacts with the locks, where it locks the buttstock in place. These notches here. So the problem is that this part is actually sticking too much in between these two rods here. That's why when it's in the blaster, you can feel that it's very sticky, like it's just too tight. So the solution is very simple. Just basically take this cap out and then use a file or something to just shave this part off. Not too much, just a bit. So yeah, it's a bummer, but it's something that you can fix yourself. But still a bummer. So yeah, so if you choose to buy a BK2S, so I would like to tell you guys that this can happen. So yeah, that's one thing. Right, so the battery. Now, you can see the battery compartment is actually quite large in there, but unfortunately, it's quite short. So if you can find a battery that is short and fat, it will fit right in. Right, for example, this battery is the QWK-H battery for the battery box. So this will sit right in. Again, it's a XC30. Yeah, so it will look something like this when the battery is installed. Now, don't get full, like as if there's still a lot of space. It's not actually. Because of this cap, once it sits in, it will take up quite a lot of spaces. Right, so that's how you fit the battery on the BK2S. Now you can put the buttstock back in. Right, so that's how it works. Now the buttstock has several positions, 3. So, I mean, fully collapsed like so. The first one, second, and the third. And then it will just come right off. So, yeah. So, I've already sanded my unit so it works properly. So, once it locks in place, right, it is very, very solid. It won't collapse on its own. Right, so, and yeah, let me just activate the blaster for you guys. Right, so, semi. Oops, yeah, the first 3 beeps. And then now you can pull the trigger to prime the blaster. Right, and that's it. So, yeah. Yeah, this can happen when your battery is not properly charged. Well, yeah. So, when this happens, don't panic. You can just simply, again, reset the blaster. Using the same method I showed you earlier. Just pull and hold the trigger. Right, first beep. Right, and that's how you release the blaster and activate it again. So yeah, I suppose this is something that you can get used to. Right, let me just deprime the blaster again. So the blaster is activated. 15 seconds, I guess. Right, now the blaster is deprimed. So yeah, that is the BK1S and BK2S. So I already mentioned the FPS number, 170 plus for the BK1S, 150 to 160 for the BK2S. Now, should you buy this blaster? Because now there's a pre-order going on in Monkey Mods, but should you buy this blaster? It doesn't matter where you buy from, Monkey Mods or not, other places. But I would just like to give you guys my opinion on these two blaster. Now, this is amazing blaster. Alright, but you need to know what to expect, right? This is not some really high FPS heater, definitely not. But I know the manufacturer is working on some upgrade parts or something to try and make this blaster shoot beyond 200 FPS. Now, in my opinion, I think that probably is not going to be very easy. So, but well, we'll see. If they actually do manage to make this blaster, this form factor electronic AEB blaster to shoot beyond 200 FPS, that's going to be amazing, man, and total game changer. But as it is right now, or at least the first batch of the BKs, what you can expect is that rather pleasant AEB experience. Now I have to say, without any exaggerations, this blaster amazed me with the reliability. Not the FPS, but the reliability. I put through so many rounds in this two blaster, no less than 1000. They're still working. And I can't really remember when was the last time it had any jams, right? It had jams for sure, but I can't remember when was the last time because it just happens so rarely. It's really amazing. We put through so many darts in it, fresh darts, used darts, some garbage darts, some darts that's ran over by cars, but it just shoots them out without much issues. So, in my opinion, if you're looking for a blaster that shoots around this FPS range, I really think you won't be disappointed. This is not something that I have the worry when I have the QWK Mark III, this blaster. Now this blaster is not a blaster that I can actually just pass to anyone and expect them to use it without any problems and have a good time with it. But this, the new Zius BK1S and 2S, it is something that I can just literally plug in the batteries at the blaster and just pass it to that person, and that person is going to have fun flinging foams without much difficulties. So yeah, my conclusion is that, well, if the FPS fits your requirement and you are in need of a automated blaster, please do consider these two blasters. These are really amazing. I don't say that lightly because electronic blasters are always finicky, and somehow Zius managed to impress us. So yeah, we can actually thoroughly recommend this blaster as long as the FPS matches your requirement. Just don't expect this blaster to hit 200, 250 FPS. That's not going to be possible. But if you're looking at something around 150 to 170, yeah, this is something that we can actually recommend for you guys. Now, before I end the video, I want to mention also, because I just remember, one of the most asked questions is that, what are the parts that are interchangeable, right, between these two blasters? Everything. So the buttstock, this M4 buffer tube, can be swapped to the BK2S, and they are also making parts for the BK2S so that you can use the M4 buttstock, vice versa. And of course, the handguards, the barrel are all interchangeable, and we will have it available in our shop as well. Of course, there are plenty more of the handguards options, 3D printed, but yeah. And the barrel length options, and we'll probably stock some parts, the original Zius parts, like the buttstock, and so that you don't have any regrets buying either BK1S or BK2S, because you know that the parts is interchangeable. So you can turn your BK2S into 1S, vice versa, anytime. And to do that is really easy as well. Let me just show you guys. So basically, just take this off. Let me remove the battery first. Right, once that's done, now you can see there's a big thumb screw here. This is also present on the BK1S, right, this thumb screw. You can just unscrew it. The first time to unscrew probably might be tight, so maybe grab a pair of a glove or some cloth to unlock this. So once this screw is out, you just slowly twist it, and that's how you remove the buttstock unit. Now I forgot to mention earlier as well. Now this blaster, both this blaster actually has a QD system, meaning you can actually quickly swap the spring out. Right, you can see there, right, it's supposed to have a Zius sticker. Let me just show you as well. Right, prime. Right, same thing. Oh man, it's a bit tight. Okay. And just twist it, and it's out. right? So yeah, very easy. So you can see here from this one is untouched yet. We haven't actually opened this up. So you can see there's a seal there. It says Zius. So yeah, you can just grab a flat screwdriver and just twist it open, and you can swap the spring very easily. So this is another plus point, meaning if you are joining whatever games it is, maybe a sub 100 FPS, sub 150 FPS, you can swap a weaker spring in it, and then you're ready to go. So yeah, pretty excited to see this blaster in action, really. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, that's the BK1S and BK2S. So if you have any questions that you want to know more about this blaster before you place an order, so just write your questions in the comment sections, or you can also contact us on our Facebook page or email. Then we can explain to you further. I mean, whatever questions that you may have in your mind. So yeah, I'm going to end the video. I think it's going to be too long. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.